Hi guys, it is Ashley Elizabeth from The Living Muse, and this is actually take 3 of this video. Third time with this video. The first one I cut off because I was going off on a tangent, which I probably will do again. Take 2, I cut it short because it was like 14 minutes and I wasn't even halfway through. And then take 3 ended up being 17 minutes, and so that's just too long for me, so at least for this. And every time I've ever tried to make this video, because I've been promising to put out this video, something has happened on Facebook or somebody's text messaged me, something's happened, and I've realized that this issue that we're about to talk about is not dead for me. And in the last take that I did, I realized even more so how not dead for me it is. Because in the last take, the reason why it took so long is because I was trying to explain my innocence. The fact that I hadn't done anything wrong. So now you're really curious. It's okay. We'll get there. This video is about grief and loss. And grief and loss, people think, oh, you know, who died? And that's a really bad way to look at things. Okay, so it's not a bad way to look at things. It's just how we look at things. You know, we've had a loss in the family. And in certain circles, if you're like, my dog died, you know, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the worst, you know, this is terrible, I'm so sorry. In other circles, people will be like, what? So, okay, it's not like it was a family member, and starts this whole thing. So, loss and grief is almost exclusively associated with death. But unfortunately, fortunately, I am here to, let's look at a different paradigm here. Let's build a new construct. So, if you look at loss is any time you lose something or someone. So if you've lost something, say, the opportunity for a job you really wanted, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you know, a bid on a house, or you lost the keys to your car, you lost a friend, you know, you lost kind of like a piece of yourself. And that's losing something. You can lose those things too. And what we don't do is grieve for them. We don't have a mourning period. Instead, we get met with lines like, you know, God only takes the good ones, or, you know, you'll find a job. With my situation, mystery, was, they weren't really friends to begin with, then were they? And we'll get to that too. And there are all these dismissing lines, like, you're really strong, and, you know, you can do better, and it's just stuff like that. It's just so, it's very dismissive. And for me, what had happened was that my best friend, I don't even know how to say this short, because I'm still trying to preserve my integrity. I'm still trying in my mind to prove that I'm innocent, even though, like, I could post every screenshot of all the conversations and go through the bank statements and you know, basically prove that well, I guess it doesn't take more than 5 seconds alone with someone to prove that you weren't trying to sleep with them, but he and I were alone for more than 5 seconds. Because I gave him a ride home when he was drunk and she was out of state, and I told him that either he got in the car and didn't drive drunk so I could take him back to his house, or I was going to tell his wife. At that point, I was already texting her, messaging her sister, and her best friend from, like, I guess since forever, on Facebook. I pretended my phone was dead. Look at me. I'm trying to explain it again. I'm trying to make it seem like I'm trying to prove myself, and I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to prove myself to anybody. And neither do you. So I guess this video is really for the both of us, sort of. Because the point of this video is basically, that happened 2 months ago, and then it started circulating around that I had tried to sleep with my best friend's husband. I didn't. Point blank, I didn't. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I would never do something like that. It's outside my moral code. I'm very abrasive. I can be very brash at times, but you can always, always, always expect the truth from me. And I guess for whatever reason, that's not what I was given in return. So for 2 months, I had no idea that this rather big group of women that I was a part of, thought that I had tried to sleep with one of their members' husbands, which is obviously a really crappy thing had I actually done that. They tried, when I started asking, because I had started a GoFundMe campaign, because I'm also a woodworker, and I was trying to get some tools so I could actually have a real shop, so that, I help out with bills, stuff like that, It's GoFundMe. Maybe I'll leave the link in the comments, maybe. But the point is that I lost a huge group of friends. And, we weren't all super tight, but there were a few in there that I thought that we were really, really close. And also my best friend. She told me when I told her everything had happened, because he, of course, didn't. He just said he bumped into me. That she would need some space and time to process. And I realized, since he'd hit on me and groped me and, by technical terms, sexually assaulted me, that her needing space from me was probably really necessary. And I didn't think much of it until I just, Facebook, that's our world today. She was commenting and posting and saying she's getting rid of negative people in her life and stuff like that. And then I heard something from somebody else. Somebody that my best friend was friends with, and I'm guessing they're still friends, because she came and got a lot of information out of me and then blocked me. And guess how I feel? Taken advantage of, sad, betrayed, disappointed. Because a lot of people believe the wife. And that just, God, that's devastating. I mean, that's just devastating. And I've had people tell me, well, they weren't real friends to begin with. And it wasn't until a few days ago that I had this epiphany. When it happened, I felt really bad for my friend. And at one point, like in a text message, I said, I was kind of like, I used a cuss word. I was like, so-and-so, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She said something to the effect of, I know it's not your fault. But because she dealt with this before with him, and I saw how much it devastated her, it broke my heart for her. So I essentially gave her space, and in that 2 months, with me not saying anything, I told somebody who I knew wouldn't say anything to anybody else. And because it dawned on me a few days after it happened that I had actually been sexually assaulted. I have a history of early childhood abuse, and in my teenage years, I definitely put myself out there as I didn't put myself out there as a slut, but I definitely did let myself get taken advantage of. Do you see that bee? Whew. I'm allergic to bees. Anyways, so I definitely did let myself get taken advantage of. And when I got older, I finally figured out that that's not the way to be. So through this whole experience of getting assaulted and dealing with an ex-military man who frightened me, there you go, trying to give reasons as to why I'm innocent, why I was scared, why I felt the way I did. I don't owe anybody an explanation. And if you've ever been in my situation now, you don't either. Like, you really don't. Because the point that I'm trying to get to is that I'm in mourning. I lost friends. People who I would, randomly bring cups of coffee to. People who I'd be like, if you need help, if I can help, I will help. And that's been my motto forever. If I can help, I will help. And not one of those people spoke up for me. Very few of them shared my GoFundMe. Even less donated. And we're talking about a large group of women. A large group. And what bothered me was that they weren't sharing. And somebody told me it was all in my head. And maybe it was, except for maybe it was. I'll just leave it at that. Maybe it was. I'd seen the village come together for other people, but I wasn't getting many shares from them. And somebody told me something and it all started to click up. And so basically I now have this feeling of distrust for people. And I also lost my best friend. Now, I mean, that hurts. And for somebody to say, what kind of friend were they to begin with? I'll tell you what kind of friend she was. She was the kind who would bring me coffee at 9:55 at night because I didn't have a car. And so, my significant other had my car. She was the kind of person who would teach me tricks with fire. Because I'm pretty bad. I spin fire. I do fire fans. I'm not very good at it. But she would teach me stuff, and she would sit there patiently with me and watch it. She would introduce me to new music. She would sit there with me all night, and we would just laugh and talk and this and that and whatever, and she'd keep me company. That's who she was. That's the kind of friend she was. I mean, she helped me with my hair when before all this, because I used to have it longer and blue. So she helped me do a lot. She was a good friend. And I don't know what kind of character she has now, but I don't know what's changed, and part of me wants to say she's vindictive. We all can be vindictive. But her husband, the love of her life, hit on her best friend. One would hope that she would believe me. But the big epiphany was that how much pain must she be in to not stand up for me, knowing who I am? How much pain must she be in to believe a man she'd caught before trolling the interwebs on Craigslist and being on Ashley Madison over somebody who had been nothing but honest? So what kind of friend was she? A good one. That was obviously really hurt. And right now, I'm in mourning. I legit am in mourning. I feel bad. I feel sad. And a lot of people will tell you, screw them, forget them, you deserve better. She was a good friend, man. That's all. Do you really want to say it another way? She was a good friend. I no longer have her. I lost a friend. That's all there is to it. And there are other things in our lives that we lose. So, for example, that night, I was also assaulted. And in those moments, I lost my self-confidence. I lost my ability to feel like I had control of my own body. And that still makes me scared. I could say it made me scared, past tense, but I'm still scared. Telling me I was strong, or I did the right thing. Telling me I did the wrong thing. Whatever choices you decide to make, they're your choices. That's it. That's all that's it. They're your choices. And you're allowed to be sad or happy about them. And you're allowed to mourn them. You're allowed to mourn people who may not deserve it. Maybe you're actually in an abusive relationship. You're allowed to feel bad for that person. You're allowed to miss them. You're allowed to miss a part of your life. See, back in the day, they had actually like mourning periods. And if you ever watched like a historical movie or a historical fiction before, and somebody dies, they all wear black. Like the widow wears black, the siblings wear black, officers who need to be in uniform would wear a black armband as a symbol of mourning. And they had periods set aside, and in some cultures, like the woman wouldn't leave the house for 12 months. Like she wasn't allowed to be out in society. She had to be in black, not going to parties, and in mourning. In the Catholic Church, you're supposed to mourn hardcore for 30 days. I looked that up. And then you're supposed to mourn for 6 more months, or 6 months total, 6 months. But we don't give time to feel bad or feel that loss, and so we end up basically blaming ourselves for something that, like me trying to validate that I'm innocent, I didn't do anything wrong. And that's because I have people telling me to basically get over it, and that's not how it works. You're allowed to mourn. You need to take space to mourn. There was an importance in that grieving period, because in that grieving period, you get to process what happened. What can I learn? How can I not harden my heart to people? How can I learn to trust? Oh, that's all stuff I'm doing. And that's why it's so funny that this video, every time I start this video, somebody pops up to say something about it, or to say they weren't there, and to not give me straight answers. And I'm having to try to figure out, do I have to prove myself to these people? Do I really need them in my life if they're gonna be so back and forth about their opinion of me? I mean, which is kind of weird, because like I said, I'm really an open book. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get that. This has once again been a very long video, but at least we've focused more on grief and mourning. But you can mourn other things. There's things that you should probably mourn that you don't. Like, for example, say, for example, you are a caregiver and you don't actually like your job. And I've actually had friends who've worked in retirement homes and they didn't like their jobs. It's not exactly a fun job. Nobody likes changing diapers, and nobody likes changing diapers on older folk. It's embarrassing all the way around. They actually, they have to write the time and date in some places, or so they know, it was changed. And they didn't like their work. They can feel sorry for themselves. They can mourn the fact that they did not get the job that they wanted. You can mourn the fact that you spent time with somebody that you shouldn't have spent time with. You can mourn any sort of loss. I was abused as a child. I mourn the loss of my innocence. And I am going to make, as soon as I can figure it out, I'm absolutely going to put a link in the comments or in the wherever. There is a thread on Reddit, and if you haven't actually read it, it's actually about loss. And somebody posted a question saying I think it says my best friend just died and I don't know what to do. And somebody answered, and it is probably one of the best answers I've ever seen. And the thing is it deals with death, but it really deals with life. You can mourn the fact that there's a career that you'll probably never have now. Whatever decision you made. You can mourn the fact that you lost a bunch of friends. You can mourn the fact that you made poor decisions, or decisions that affected your life. And you can be sad for yourself. You're allowed to be sad for yourself, whether you made a bad decision or not. Because mourning is a time of respect. It is intended to be a time of respect for the deceased in like culture, but it's also to be also a time of reflection and honoring that like you're honoring in more like it when there are some places where the widows would wear black until they died, like that was it. Your husband died, you wore black the rest of your life, and you never did anything ever again, as far as on the romance front. Now you can either do that, or you can spend a certain amount of time mourning something, processing it, respecting it, honoring it. Once again, we're talking about respecting and honoring emotions. And if you need to know how to do that, go back and watch my last video. What is it? The letting go myth. The letting go myth. And you need to mourn. Because I've heard way too many people say, well, that's over. Mourn, cry, process, respect. All that mourning process gives you time to heal. It helps you to not have a hardened heart. It helps you not to be petty. I was petty. And I'm still really, I'm like not really struggling with it because I don't really think I'll do it, but man, I would really love to post these screenshots, and like I got a video of him, and like not of him assaulting me, because at this point with the amount of like backlash I've gotten from all these friends, I would have just taken it to the police and been like, look. But I do have like a video of him downtown and me being like, what the heck are you doing here? And all these other situations that people only know like this much about. But I'm not, because I'm following my own integrity. And that's because I've given myself space to mourn and to feel bad and to process, which is something that you need to do. It's, give yourself space to mourn and process. And I think this is a really important part of the journey, is recognizing pain. We've already discussed that too, but not brushing off things that are lost. We don't need to brush off things that are lost. We need to mourn them. And you can take however long you want. You really can. And people tell you, well, that happened like 2 months ago. I should be over it. Somebody said that to me. And I'm sitting here going, well, I lost a bunch of friends, and I was just thinking that I was busy and that I missed them. Like I was just like near misses with them, and that my best friend was processing. I didn't really know. So I'm only just now really processing, having gotten the information, I think maybe a week ago. But I'm in mourning. I'm sad, and I'm mourning the loss of friends, and it's also how you kind of let go. Another way you let go is you mourn. That's one of the emotions that you go through. So, next time before you think to tell a friend, well, you deserve better, that may be absolutely true. But, you know what? You need to let them mourn too. Because saying you're really strong, they probably don't feel very strong. And they need that room to really process and handle it. And the best you can do as a friend of somebody who has lost something is to respect the boundaries they give you, and just try to be supportive of whatever they're going through. Like, I really miss him, and of course, like with an ex, like, you're gonna miss your ex. It's how it is, People want to say, let's go get drunk, or let's get Ben and Jerry's. Instant cheering up isn't the answer. It's not. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's appropriate. It's not an all or never thing, but in general, it's not the way you want to handle it. The instant upper is just you pushing aside something that needs to be dealt with. So, this is once again a really long video, but I'm going to post it anyways, and I'll just work on, shortening my scripts, you know. I have a friend who is, dealing with divorce issues, or potential divorce issues, and, because of a situation, and she's going to need to mourn that relationship, whether it was good, bad, ugly, whether she's happy on the outside or not, like whether she's with somebody else or not. That's still a process. So anyways, any questions, comments, you know, just leave them down below for me. I'll answer. You can always hit me up on the Facebook page, The Living Muse. So feel free to mourn. Please mourn. Mourn for things you don't think you should mourn for. Like if it makes you sad and you feel like you lost something, mourn for it. I know moms who just don't take the time to mourn for the fact that they wanted to breastfeed and didn't. And a lot of people don't understand it, and just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not important to somebody else, and it doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be mourned. So anyways, now we're up to 26 minutes, and I think this might take like forever to load. Maybe, I don't know. Probably. So this might actually go up tomorrow, because that's probably how long it'll take to load. Anyways, you guys, I hope this helps, and if you have any questions or comments, other than shorten your videos, then just, you know, leave them down below. Eventually I'll figure out how to do this thing where you can like click here for this and click here for that, but for right now, we're just in regular videos. So and then for you guys who have worked with me before, if you have a question, something you'd like me to do a general video about, then you're welcome. You already have my information. You're welcome to message me and let me know, and I will be happy to get on that. If not, I will go with one of the other ones on my list, which is not going to be Letting Go Part 2. We have another one. Anyways, y'all have a good day. Bye.